Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Hope you're doing well. I want to get into another FAQ video, which means I'm going to go through my comments section. I'm going to read 3 different comments from 3 different videos, and I'm going to do my best to answer the questions and the concerns and maybe even criticisms that you guys are levying. I do enjoy this process, so if you've got questions, or even if you're critical of where my head's at with respect to, Splinterlands or NFT blockchain-based video gaming, I'd love to see it, because I really think there's value in people who have differing opinions coming together in conversation. So leave your comments, leave your IGNs. If you do, I'll send a little thank you if I use your video idea. Okay, let's get into it. I have not looked at the comment section beforehand. I'll tell you that while I'm loading that up, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258, and you can call me 12. Okay, let's look for a comment with some, relatively long, or we can find one with some thumbs up on it. We got one over here. Venith commenting on my last FAQ video, which was largely about card burning. There was 2 topics around card burning, and one question was having something to do with I forget the third topic, but that's okay. Venith looks like he's talking about card burning. In regard to burning for dust is like this idea of what if you could burn the soulbound cards or extra cards that you don't want and turn it into dust, and then use that as a currency to maybe acquire other cards or in-game assets or skins or whatnot. It's an idea that's been floated around, and I'm at least interested in it. So let's see what Venus thinks. To avoid adding another currency, they already have an in-game only currency they can use, reward shares. If they're going to have a reward shop, this is a super easy solution. Allow people to burn soulbound cards for reward shares that they can turn into and spend into the reward shop. What do you mean by reward shares? We can still have unlock and sale of soulbound cards, but for those who just want to burn them, take another chance on the card chest, this is a very easy solution. I just don't know what you mean by reward shares. I don't know that language. Is that what you mean when is that what we get when we win? RP, okay. RP is the reward points. I guess it doesn't matter. I can still speak to the question. So I think I agree as I read that. The idea that we would add yet another currency, and that's really what it would be if we created dust. We're creating yet another currency. So, but I did suggest in a previous video, and I'm not, maybe I'm not done feeling that that's worth discussing. We don't need to create another currency to say, look, I could burn 5 copies of a single card and turn it into 1. 5 commons turn into 1 new common. And you burn 5 commons of any soulbound reward card, and you get another soulbound reward card that is common. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's 20 copies. I don't know. You guys just decide. But I'm saying you don't need another currency to sort of implement that type of approach. And some sort of mathematical formula for rares and epics and legendaries as well. And maybe there's some chance for a gold foil to happen when that transpires. I have heard the critique or criticism about that idea, that bots would really take advantage of that. I don't know if they would. Would they? Because I feel like bots' primary issue is financial compensation. And if we're talking about burning 5 reward cards to get some other reward card, that's not a financial return for them. It's a speculation that players probably would do, right? Players want better cards. Players want to complete their set. Bots just want to maximize the returns, right? Don't they? So I don't know if I still think you don't need dust. I think you're right about that. I do believe there's a pathway without creating another token. I think you could just burn 5 cards for 1 or 10 cards for 1 or whatever the case may be. Yeah. What do you guys think? Let me know. I'm not done with that idea because we haven't seen a resolution to that. The team is clear that they're changing reward system. They're changing the leagues. They're changing the loot boxes. They're changing. The game is being radically changed in these coming weeks. We even know that soulbound cards are supposed to be made transferable, but the path to these things is up in the air. Well, let's keep this conversation going because we need to figure this out, and we are a decentralized owner of this. The DAO really does have a vote and a voice, as we can see by the recent proposals that have passed or failed. Yeah, so let's move on. Penith, thanks for the comment. Another one with some good responses. Well, Bronze Dragon's got a good... You know what? This is from... Shout out to Bronze Dragon. Guys, check out his channel. He's giving away 2 copies of Rage. Check out his channel, subscribe to his channel, figure out the details on that. By the way, so am I. I'm doing a live event on March 1st, Friday, 11 a.m. Be there. You'll have an opportunity to win one of 2 legendary Rage monsters. But I don't want to comment on on this video because this is about that exact same topic of burn mechanics. Let's scroll down and find some older comments that are pertaining to something else. Soul Keep. My financial journey is a little bit skeptical here. Let's read this comment. I was speaking about Soul Keep, and I was saying, look, I'm excited that Soul Keep is happening. I'm excited that it was sold to another entity. Double Coconut bought it, if you don't know. And I'm excited because that means that it's not on the radar. It's not on the plate. It's not in the way of the production team for the Splinterlands or Steam Monsters company. They don't have to deal with it. It can be put off and dealt with by another party. Now, by all voices that have spoken to this issue, it seems like this is an exciting next step. And I think it's going to happen. And Double Coconut released a blog post, by the way. It wasn't super detailed, but they said, look, we're pumped when this is going to happen. We're excited. We're going to take care of it. It's going to be great. And, you know, maybe you would expect them to say that, and you could be skeptical about that. But suffice it to say, I am eager to see how this goes. And remember, Steam Monsters, the company, wasn't going to prioritize Soul Keep. It was going to sit on the back burner. So either we do this and let the Double Coconut team try their best, and maybe their best is good enough. Because, by the way, they made the game, and we seem to like the game as it was. So I think if we trust them with it, I'm excited to trust them with it. Let's see what my financial journey says. I mean, end of the day, I hope it's good news. It just seems very odd to me that they would sell this game to the company who gave up on it in the first place. I don't think that's accurate language, my financial journey. I don't think they gave up on it. Remember, we tasked them to create it. And we said, as I understand it, now I could be off and maybe your language is accurate. If somebody knows better, let me know in the comments. But from my knowledge of this, and I do think they spoke very vaguely about all of this. I don't think we ever got clear answers, but it seems to me we hired Double Coconut to produce a tower defense game that could link into the Splinterlands verse. And that's what they did. And then they created 25 levels or however many, and that was all they were supposed to do. And then we were supposed to incorporate it into our ecosystem, but that became too difficult and cumbersome and time consuming, and we just couldn't because of the staffing cuts, etc. But I don't think they left or that they abandoned it or anything like that. It was more like they did what they were told and then they stopped. And people seem to like it, by the way. Remember how many people tested it and said it looked fun, they were excited to play it. Some people did say it was a little too easy. Others said they wanted more levels. The team couldn't, make more levels. But clearly, if Double Coconut can make 25 great levels and a decent game that people like playing, I think they can probably do more levels. The levels aren't the hard part, I would think, right? The levels should be the easy part. Actually, tokenomics, like the foundational programming, those are the hard parts. So again, I don't think they gave up on it. I think they did what they were supposed to, and then they moved away. But now they're coming back in because we have invited them to. So he goes on to say, why did they stop development before? That makes them so excited now. I think they stopped development when they were supposed to. It was a project. Did Steam Monsters just give away a ton of value by selling it so cheaply? Maybe they did. This is a fair point. It's possible that if Double Coconut or if Soul Keep is as good as I actually think it might be, and maybe some of you might think it might be, then the short answer to your question or criticism is that, yeah, they probably sold it cheap. But one of the things I like to think about in crypto is that you can't think about really you can't get caught up on where something could go. If you feel that there's an opportunity to take an L that on a certain asset, a cryptocurrency token, an investment of one nature or another, and then you can move that that cash value into another project that you're more passionate about and you think has a greater probability of success and maybe a bigger moon mission in front of it, then that's not necessarily a loss. Do you see how it's like surrender the battle in order to win the war? That's a bit of what I'm saying. And so you might be right that Steam Monsters maybe gave away a ton of value by selling it cheaply. And we will see with time. But that doesn't even necessarily mean that it was a bad decision. Because if they were to hold on to it and not sell it, but then the Splinterlands company ends up not having enough money or runway to carry their own operations forward because they were clinging on to different assets like Solo Keep without the ability to release them or to work on them, and just thinking, well, we can't sell it so cheaply. Now, is that going to put them in a worse spot, a tighter spot? And is that going to compromise the main mission, which is Splinterlands and Steam Monsters, the company? I think that's the question, right? He goes, like I said, I'm hoping it's good news. It just seems weird to me. What changed? Is it because now BTC seems to have some juice under it? I'm not interested in playing a game whose developers come and go, ebb and flow with crypto prices. I have 100 packs and I've owned since day one, and I'm pretty sure that the SPS has paid them. That's nice, but it still doesn't make it any less fishy. Okay, you know what? Great comment. Thank you for that feedback. I hope that some of what I said, because I think I'm right about they didn't come and go, they didn't leave. It wasn't like a fishy like abandonment of the project, as I understand it. And I'm happy to be corrected if I'm mistaken, guys. In the comments, please. I need to know. If I'm wrong, I need to know. But I believe it was they came and they built what they were told to build, and then they stopped. And we said we were going to always sort of take it under our wing, but the team and the change with the staffing affected our ability to make that happen. I think that's the piece you're missing maybe, but thank you very much for that comment. And I like the angle that you bring at it from the Steam Monsters might be giving away money. Yeah, they might, but sometimes taking an L to move on to a bigger win is the right play. Okay. Here's a quick little comment we'll wrap up with. SS dropped a comment on a recent video where I talked about my first reaction to Kai, the secondary airdrop. Let's pull it up quickly. He says the only real problem with this one is the price point. I talked in that video about how great I thought this new card was going to be. This is it right here. And I'll pull up the actual stats for it. So it's got 4 damage output at the highest levels, 5 speed, 0 armor, 7. Hamstring, reach, ambush, true strike, and shatter. It's a really interesting card. I like it a lot, and he seems to agree that he likes it as well. But he's saying, look, the price point's too much. And now we don't actually know the price point, but we can speculate that based on Rage being 15 to 18, maybe even $20 right now, you can get into a place where you start to think, well, if Rage is 18, 17, bucks for a regular foil copy, then maybe Kai will be in that ballpark as well. I would say Kai is interesting. It's a very different card, but 15 bucks probably seems pretty logical to me. But I will say, as I've been looking at Rage, I think the price point on this is going to come down. We look at there's a 63 available. Ooh, some good buying has been happening here. But the available cards have been dropping. There was 108 yesterday. That was Feb 22nd. Now there's 63. This is important because it ends up speaking to supply versus demand. And what I'm saying is, if that number keeps dropping, and if you want to look at, say, any of the other cards, look at this: 13 from Nalara, 6 from Rush Townsend. These are all legendaries. Now they're very incomparable, but at the same time, they're all legendaries. They're all Rebellion, and the supply for these cards is far lower: 5 copies, 10 copies, 13 copies versus 63. So I would argue that this price needs to come down, or the supply, either the price needs to come down, or the supply needs to come down. And yesterday, 40 copies within the last 24 hours, 40 copies have been sold. So right now the supply is falling because the price is staying relatively high. I would argue this is going to drop lower and lower, not a lot lower. And I'm not saying it's a bad card. I think it's an exceptional card, but then I do think this tells us something about Kai. I think we see a $15 price point. Is that too expensive? Maybe. He might also be talking about how you need to participate within the context of the mage wagons and how that pricey that can be, because you have to buy the wagon, you have to put the cards into the wagon. But I love the way the wagons are working, in the way that you can actually have your card on the wagon and yet playing with the card. That's what I'm doing. I played today a rank battle, and I've got my rage right there on this wagon. This card is earning me airdrop points, and simultaneously it is being used in order to win battles within the ranking experience, which is amazing. So I'm saying I like the conflicts. I'm saying I like these legendaries. I like the airdrops. They are exceptional, and we wouldn't expect anything less. I do think the prices will be relatively high, but you have to remember that, you know, they're exceptional cards, and they're going to be, you know, Rebellion is going to be really limited in number. Now, we're talking probably 4,000 to 6,000 copies of these cards. Rage might have around 6,000. Kai might have fewer because they've increased how many points you need, how many chances you need. You need 250 chances in order to get one guaranteed Kai. 250 chances earns one guarantee, and it was only 200 to 1 with the Rage. So, is it expensive? Probably. Is it really worth it? I do think the kit's pretty special. It's the only card we know about so far that has that hamstring ability. I do think it's vulnerable to attack because it only has, I think, 6 or 7 hit points. But remember, you can bury it in sort of the mid-back line, especially under those melee from any position rule sets. That's 3 different rule sets. So I don't know if I would say this is a carry or a must-have. I would say that I probably like Rage more than this. But Rage has that huge mana cost. And so you get to a conversation of like, you know, 6 mana is far more applicable than 16 in more situations and circumstances. And so anyways, I appreciate the comment. I love thinking about sort of where this card fits within the meta, the price points. I think probably I'm expecting a $15 price target, at least out of the gates when this thing launches. We'll see. We'll see. And we'll only have to wait probably 4 more weeks before we find out. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Have an amazing day. God bless.